everybody. Welcome to another live feed on Rashad Mitchell's YouTube channel. It's Football Friday with Rashad Mitchell. Let's get into it. College football, NFL recaps, preview predictions. That's it. That's what it's all about on Football Friday. Let's get into it, man. We're gonna start with last week, man. Had a very eventful week in college football. 4 teams in the top 10 lost. We'll start with Florida State, ranked number 8. Lost 46-38 in double overtime to Virginia last Friday. That was a shocker. And then you had upset number 24 TCU. Lost to Arizona State by score 27-24. So Florida State, they will play Miami tomorrow night. They went 18 in the country. And they play number 3 Miami. Penn State continued to struggle against top 10 teams under the tenure of James Franklin. They lost in double overtime 30-24 to number 6 Oregon. Currently, James Franklin is now 4-21 in the history of him being the coach at Penn State against top 10 teams of 4-21. LSU lost to Ole Miss on the road, 24-19. Georgia lost to their arch rival Alabama at home, having their longest home winning streak in the nation snapped at 33. It was a signature win for head coach Kellen DeBoer for Alabama. Big time win. So now tomorrow we got 10th ranked Alabama at home against 16th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. And also got number 9 Texas Longhorns against unranked Florida Gators. And got number 3 Miami plays at number 18 Florida State. So I think Alabama should beat Vanderbilt. Longhorns should beat Florida. Then Miami will beat Florida State and make a statement winning convincingly. That's another narrative with that. Let's get to the NFL. Last week, Baltimore Ravens, they continue to struggle. Yes, they banged up and hurt, but they lost 37-20. Xavier Worthy came back. He provided a spark offensively, including a 35-yard run on a reverse, and Worthy also had 5 catches for 83 yards and a 37-yard catch. Mahomes had 3. He threw 4 touchdown passes, and now Baltimore Ravens are now 1-3. The Chiefs are now 2-2. The Philadelphia Eagles remain unbeaten. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road 31-25. New York Giants had a new starter at quarterback, and rookie Jackson Dart. He ran for a touchdown, including 54 yards rushing and 111 yards passing against the Los Angeles Chargers. And they won 21-18. Then you had the Micah Parsons Bowl, where you had the Cowboys and the Packers tied at 40. This game wasn't a win, it was a tie. Game was a shootout. Both quarterbacks played well. Dak Prescott threw over 300 yards. Jordan Love threw over 300 yards. Parsons had 1 sack, but not a game record. So moving forward, keep your eyes on the Broncos versus the Eagles, the Buccaneers versus the Seahawks. Commanders versus the Chargers. The Chiefs versus the Jaguars. There's not many great games this week in NFL, but those are games to keep your eyes on to me. Interesting: Broncos versus Eagles, Buccaneers versus Seahawks, Commanders versus Chargers, Chiefs versus Jaguars. I got the Eagles beating the Broncos. The Seahawks will beat the Buccaneers. The Chargers will beat the Commanders, and I got the Chiefs over the Jaguars. All right, so let's get into what you need to know about these matchups in the National Football League. We're going to start in London. Kick off this week. Also on Thursday, San Francisco beat the Rams 26-23 in overtime. The Browns beat the Vikings. The Browns actually played the Vikings, in London, and at 9:30 a.m. Look at the Browns. They'll turn to quarterback Dylan Gabriel to jumpstart the league's second lowest scoring offense, averaging 14 points a game. So see what he does. He will become the first quarterback to make his first start in an international game, because this game is going to be played in London. Both these teams don't have winning records, so we'll see what happens in this matchup. For the Vikings, they spent their week in London sorting things out. They definitely ravaged by injuries on this offensive line. So they will be without right tackle Brian O'Neill with a right knee, center Brian Kelly with a concussion, left guard Donovan Jackson with a left wrist, backup center Michael Jurgens with a hamstring. He sat out practice Wednesday and Thursday. He's going to be questionable for Sunday's game. So the Vikings could be left with their number three center, their number three left guard, their number two right tackle against a defense that leads the NFL in pass rush win rate and run stop with win rate. So they're going to have difficulty trying to block Myles Garrett for the Browns. Vikings offensive line. Sutton knows that the Browns have scored 17 or fewer points in 9 straight games dating back to last season, which is tied for the longest streak in franchise history. Good game right here. The Broncos and the Eagles at 1 o'clock p.m. Bo Nix has many weekly exams at his time as a starter. Nix's patience will be tested going against Eagles defense directed by Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator. He had 2 week starts on defense on Andrew Makupa at safety and Jahad Campbell at linebacker. He will force Nix to live with the underneath throws. In last week's win, Nix had not found much success pushing the ball downfield to kickstart the offense. Nix was more settled on Monday night against Cincinnati. So keep your eyes on Fangio, who try to figure to give Nix a steady diet of simulated pressures and coverage looks that morph after the snap. Fangio has been a particular challenge to quarterbacks in the red zone. For the Eagles they need to get A.J. Brown going at wide receiver. He was held to 2 catches for 7 yards on 9 targets, and he created a stir with a tweet post game. And he has been held to 27 or fewer points in 3 of the 4 games. So, see what happens. The passing game is ranked 31st, and I felt it should be much better than that. Stat knows that the Broncos defense ranks first in QBR, 40.5, and sacks with 15, as well as second in pressures with 62. Texas and the Ravens, man, both these teams are underachieved. Especially the Ravens with Super Bowl aspirations. Look at the Texans. They're now going against somebody that they struggle with. The Ravens have a 13-2 record against Houston. And see what happens. The Ravens are 3-0 against the Texans. Quarterback C.J. Stroud. The Ravens have 6 defensive starters dealing with injuries, including Pro Bowlers, Cal Hamilton, Raekwon Smith, Roland Humphrey. So see what happens. Also, Lamar Jackson may not play. I don't think he's playing this week. Has a hamstring injury, could be out. The Ravens have allowed 35 points per game. 35 points in 3 of the 4 games. The season tied for the most such games in a season in franchise history. Next, we got the Colts and the Raiders. Not a great game, but let's see what's going to happen. Could be upset. This is the National Football League. Anything can happen. But you look at the Raiders, the offensive line did a great job last week. Great performance last week, but took a big hit in the process because the unit allowed just 3 pressures while paving the way for rookie running back Ashton Jenkins to record 138 yards, but lost their starting left tackle Colton Miller to a high ankle sprain. Miller's absence is untimely since the Colts are ranked 8th in rushing yards allowed per game, 96. For the Colts, Indianapolis has had one of the most efficient offenses this season so far, ranking 4th in scoring at 30.8 points per game. But that comes in spite of its concerning performance in the red zone, where the Colts have managed to score touchdowns with 47.4% of the time. They've had a rash of ill-timed penalties in their scoring position, and that has led to a difficult down and distance situation. Stat knows that Colts rookie Tyler Warren leads all tight ends and receiving yards this season with 263, which is the most for the position through 4 career games in the Super Bowl era. This is a terrible game. The Cowboys going for a 40-40 draw against the Green Bay Packers. Plays at the New York Jets 1-4. The Cowboys, again, comes to this game against the Jets, who were winless. So in 2019, the Jets were also 4-4 when facing the Cowboys and lost to Dallas 24-22. For the Jets, it's all about ball security. For Aaron Glenn, wore a boxing glove, trying to punch out the ball. The Jets have lost a league high 6 fumbles, and it explains the emphasis in practice. So the Jets are a mistake-prone team. -7 turnover differential, 40 penalties, 7 tied for 7th most. They're trying to avoid their third 0-5 start in the past 30 years. Stat knows that the Jets have allowed 25 plus points in every game this season, the only team in the NFL to do so. Another such game will be tied for the longest streak of allowing 25 plus points in a season in franchise history. It's another bad game. The Dolphins and the Panthers. Tyreek Hill obviously was out for the season because of his knee. So they have to rely on Jalen Waddle to be the playmaker, primary receiver. For the Panthers, Coach Dave Canales, I think it's Canales, dealing with Rashad injuries. Somebody got to step up, especially at wide receiver, Jimmy Horn Jr. And maybe starting with Xavier Legette, returning after missing 2 games with hamstring injury. Stat knows that quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has a total QBR of 19 and averages 6.3 yards per attempt and facing zone coverage this season. The Panthers use zone coverage 68.8% of the time, the 7th highest rate in the league this season. It's not a good game here either. Giants and the Saints. Obviously, the Giants dealing with Jackson Dart. It'll be his first career road game in New Orleans. So all week, the Giants have been pumping in crowd noise and working on communication at practice throughout the week. Obviously, to get prepared for the noise in the Superdome. For the Saints, tight ends Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill returned to practice this week for the first time since last season. They were dealing with serious knee injuries. So it knows that Cam Scatterbull, the Giants running back, has 181 yards rushing and 98 receiving yards in 4 career games. If he has a productive day Sunday, Scatterbull will be the 4th Giants rookie ever since the 1970 merger, with 200 rushing yards and 100 receiving yards through 5 career games. It's a good game right here. Both 3-1 teams, Seahawks and the Buccaneers. For the Buccaneers, it's going to be at 4:05 p.m. The Buccaneers have surrendered touchdowns on the first defensive possession in 3 of their 4 games, but they have only scored on the first offensive possession once. This is the reason why they've had to come from behind in the final 2 minutes of their games, which have all been decided by 1 score or less. The Seahawks. Like Coach Mike McDonald said that the Seahawks in-house metrics, Mayfield is probably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Those extending play situations. Mayfield has the 8th highest average time before throw at 2.68 seconds. That knows that the Bucs have scored and allowed an identical 97 points so far this season. It's a bad game too. Cardinals and the Titans. The Titans will do its best to keep Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray from breaking off long runs by design or circumstance. For the Cardinals, Murray's trying to keep his head down and focus on the present with the state of the Cardinals' offense. The offense will have on stroke to move the ball and score in weeks 3 and 4. For the stat knows that the Titans quarterback Cam Ward has been sacked an NFL high 17 times this season, while the Cardinals ranked 5th in pass rush win rate this season, 47%. Commanders and the Chargers, pretty good game. For the Commanders, the defense of Washington has continued to be played by explosive plays. They have allowed the NFL worst 28 pass plays of 15 yards or more. So they have to guard against Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Chargers, who ranks 11th with 20 pass plays of at least 15 yards. Of those plays, he has completed 7 with 3 touchdown passes to wide receiver Quentin Johnston. For the Chargers, after the game where Herbert was hit 13 times, sacked twice against the Giants, the Chargers could be without 2 starting offensive linemen again Sunday. Left tackle Joe Alt has an ankle injury, is doubtful for Sunday. Right guard Mekhi Becton has a concussion, didn't play last week. Set know that this will be the staunch matchup in the red zone. Commanders have scored touchdowns on 7 of 9 such drives. The Chargers have allowed touchdowns on 4 of 13 such drives. Lions and the Bengals. For the Lions, it will be an emotional homecoming for David Montgomery. For the Lions, he played in his hometown for the first time in his career. He played the Bengals once in 2021 with the Bears in Chicago. He never had a road game against the Bengals. The Bengals, obviously, gut check time. Lions are expected to steamroll Cincinnati, which is some of the worst form in its franchise history. Detroit is second in the NFL in rate of design rush plays. The rush defense of the Bengals will have to limit big plays, and stopping those will come down to deploying basic techniques. That knows that Jamar Chase of the Bengals, wide receiver, is sinking to avoid going 3 straight games with 50 or fewer receiving yards for the second time in his career. Got the nightcap for the Bills and the Patriots. For the Patriots, keep your eyes on defensive tackle Milton Williams. He was added to the injury report this past Wednesday due to his ankle. He has played 72% of the defensive snaps through 4 games, has 2 sacks, has consistently created interior pressure. If he doesn't play, then Karius Tonga to the starting role next to Christian Barmore. The Bills. How will the rushing offense, which has been key to start the season, respond to the challenge that the Patriots defense presents? James Cook has led the Buffalo Bills on the ground, has 100-plus yards in 3 straight games. New England is tied for second in opponent rushing yards per game, 77.5. Yards per rush, 3.3. Stat knows that Josh Allen, quarterback of the Bills, has 45 career games with both a passing touchdown and rushing touchdown, tied with Cam Newton for the most by any player in NFL history. And finally, the Chiefs and the Jaguars. It's a good game right here. 8:15 p.m. is stand time. For the Chiefs know that the star running back Travis Etienne Jr. will be the best running back they faced so far this season. This includes Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Etienne has powered the Jaguars offense with 394 yards rushing, the third most in the league. So keep your eyes on that, how the defense stops him for the Chiefs. For the Jaguars, one of the things being stressed this week is don't get discouraged, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the escape artist who can turn a bad play into a huge game with an off-schedule throw from a weird arm ankle. See how they stop that. The stat knows that the Jaguars enter Week 5, leading the NFL in drops this season with 10. Our only team with a double-digit drop total. So that's it for Football Friday with Rashad Mitchell. Be back on Monday for the classic books with Rashad Mitchell. Live feed over chapter 10, 11, 12 of Hebrews, Life and Spirit Study Bible, and continue with chapter 4 in the NFL 1970 book. So that's it for tonight. So until then, talk to you next time on Monday. Like, subscribe to the channel. Support the channel. If you like it. That's it for tonight. So until then, talk to you on Monday.